Brother Ledbetter, you mind giving us a prayer?
Father, first we thank you for your love, your mercy, your grace, your goodness, dear Father, towards us. We cannot begin to thank you enough. We thank you, Father, for those who've been elected to serve our community. I ask you to give them your grace, your wisdom, your direction. Help them, Father, as they deliberate and make decisions that affect the whole community. God, help them, Father, to judge justly and equitably. And God, we ask your help, your intervention. Father, things take place that we don't understand. We just put in your hands and help us to understand. But we know that you can take care of it, so we just give it to you. And Father, we again thank you for all you have done for us, and all you're doing for us, and all you're going to do for us. We praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, I'm gonna go through the agenda items first before we address anything. Looks like we have some declaring property over on Brentwood Street, no longer need for municipal purposes. That's the Brother Collins Center. We're gonna convey towards the Housing Authority. Everything's set, correct, Win, for that?
Yes.
So we're good on that. And we'll act on that. They're gonna be accepting that and remodeling it completely and having it up for their purposes as a rec center. Actually, let's see, EF&S is here, gonna award a bid for drainage improvements. We have that money in, one of the COVID funds, the American Rescue Act, fund. We have overpayments of business license. We have insurance, oversight for PD officer. Safe declaring the van, surplus, requesting disposal. Training. And we have accounts payable. All right. Jeff Flynn is not gonna make it this meeting. He's gonna come back later. All right, discussion. We're gonna, reimbursement for police officer Harry Brown for dental insurance on premiums paid. As I take it, years ago, he came off of, Jane, can you help me address this here?
Yeah.
I don't know the correct dates, but I know he came off a family, went single, and the dental wasn't included in that.
Officer Brown, came to me more than once to discuss this. You know, we've been to research and find documentation about removing one of his children from the policy. Between the clerk's office and my office, this was somewhere around 2015, 2016, we could not find the document. However, over the last 2 years, we've been keeping up with it, and he signed off on some paperwork implying that he had single dental coverage. We did 2 scenarios, 2 options. Ideally, we'd like to reimburse the entire amount. I believe that something should happen. I just think between the transition, we can't locate it, and neither can the insurance company. We'd like to see option 1. If not, option 2 is 2 years. I'd like to help the 6 years.
We don't, yeah, you've got the options here in the packet.
Yeah, I just got a couple of questions to say. Number one, how did this happen? Break that down for me again.
Well, like I said, it was a transition. I got here in 2015. I don't have the documents. Sandy says she doesn't have the documents. I believe him. He's tried to go to the courthouse and get copies of those orders that we don't have, and neither does the insurance company.
So, Mr. Brown decided to change coverage, and we know he changed coverage because y'all had found some documents that are signed for, but the insurance company don't have it, we don't have
And
it.
he's been paying for it, is the.
And he's been paying for it. What, I just don't understand how that happens.
I don't either. Mr.
In the real world, you change over and, you know, all that's taken care of. That just baffles me, number one. Number two, what account does this come out of?
Just park fringe.
I can't hear.
It'll come out of the general fund.
whichever option we decide to do, correct? Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
No, we just need to discuss the, thank you, Jane. We need to discuss the
Thanks,
options
Mr.
of 1764 or 588. 588 comes from where he signed the paperwork the last 2 years and been keeping up with it versus the 1764 when he claimed to have been off of it and, you know, however many years ago that was, all the way through, 6 years ago, so. That's something. Documentation only goes for the 2 years, correct? That's as early as the documentation goes back?
Is there anything else, like an
Yes.
email or
We were
anything?
keeping up with it once you approved, dotted line for Cassie and I. We made time to do that. I didn't have time to keep up with that, and I don't think Ms. Sorensen.
But is it
did that
like,
At open enrollment.
as far as an employee going to change that, is it only on like open enrollment days when they change it? I mean, is there, or is it something like they send an email in and say, hey, this has changed, I need to change it?
Previously, in those previous years, we depended on the broker to communicate to the payroll clerk.
Is it the same one we've always used or currently use?
One of them not. We had two, now we have one.
The reason I'm asking is, I mean, we don't wanna agree to the second one
We need to
if
be
there is
positive.
some sort of proof that, you know, we do in fact owe the person, so I'm just saying, like, is there anything like
He's
this?
built a compelling case, and I think the right thing to do is the 6 years, but I'm not you guys, y'all
Well,
need to speak.
the issue is though, is that he was payroll deducted for insurance premiums for insurance he didn't have.
That's right.
And option one.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we are gonna discuss and bring up the option of a proposed sales tax increase that we've, kind of been mulling around, beating around the bush, talking about, seeing what we can do on. And, basically what we have come to, one of the options is raising the city sales tax to a 1.5% increase to 4.5 from the now 3%. And the idea behind that is every year, yes, we pass surplus budgets, but it's been by the skin of our teeth, you know, and as that surplus is supposed to be for stuff that comes up in the middle of the year, and we say, oh, we need to amend the budget to do this, this, and this. And that's where you get your money for your debt service down payments on, or payments for everything that you purchase, or the projects that you do. You know, and the bonds that we go get for like our street paving projects, it's broken down into debt payment services, and, you know, after all that's said and done, we don't have anything left, you know, and haven't in a long time for any kind of extra projects, anything to go on the table. Now, you know, we see we're in the middle of a master plan for a master recreational center, campus, and we have, you know, we're gonna need a fire truck in the next 2 or 3 years. That's close to $1 million outfitted, if not more. $3 or $4 million in street paving and stuff, and you sit back and look and you're like, you know, where did we get this money from? And, you know, this idea comes that we're such low on the totem pole in our county, in our area. You know, many people around us are at the, you know, what is it, 5, 6, 7 range, and we're sitting over here at 3. And I say that's the city tax, not the overall with the county and the state and everything added in. A lot of your like Jefferson County area and all the, in Alex City and all these people are at 10%, you know, we're sitting way down below that. So with this 1.5% increase, we still remain the lowest in the area. If we go to 2, that ties us up with a lot of areas and that defeats the purpose. We still wanna remain the lowest in the area. That gives us a step ahead of the game for our big businesses like Home Depot and all these where your contractors come in and get $5, $10, $15, $20,000 jobs. They come to a lower tax area to get their, you know, money's worth. And if we went even with everybody, then obviously they just stay closer home. If they're out of Alex City, they stay in Alex City and get it from there. So we'll still have a step ahead with that. And the idea behind this is it's not only just our 12,000, 13,000 citizens, you know, oh, we're paying for this, that, and the other. It's the district and the shopping area, the mailing district of Sylacauga that surrounds us in the surrounding cities of 225,000 people. Those people that live outside the city limits, shop inside the city limits, are the majority as far as that sales tax goes. And what that does is they pay for the things that you guys and we use every day as far as the roads, the infrastructure, new fire truck. You know, we've got all this stuff that we want to do with no financial means to pay for it. And, you know, as estimated as is, like just scaling our current revenue, 1.5%, it'll generate an extra 4.1 million. And that's as is, nothing else open. As you know, we have many things opening up like Publix, Lloyd's, and the Wharf in the coming year. So it could go up from there. This could be big for us. All those things I mentioned, you know, we put it in spreadsheets after spreadsheets, playing with numbers, and we could, it's broken down in yearly debt services, we could pay that out over all these years, and at the end of the year, still have high six figures up to $1 million in surplus after all, if we have a new fire truck, street paving, you know, the recreational stuff, all that could be paid for and remain with a high surplus. Just didn't have anything unforeseen, you know, police cars, city vehicles, anything like that. Would just come up like we had to buy the street sweeper, you know, that wouldn't be a problem if that happened. So just the idea of that and the process of it, of course, you have to bring it up, talk about it. As a council, we discuss things, and if it goes forward, it of course wouldn't be voted on tonight, but if it goes forward, then it has to go to the state level for 60 days, be processed there, things changed, and then it goes into effect after those 60 days. So if it, you know, comes in place, that's kind of how long it has until it implements itself. Anybody else want to do any further explaining or whatnot?
Everybody's mind's made up apparently, and I won't comment, because I've commented on the past, well, in the past, everybody knows how I feel, but I do strongly suggest that everyone goes home and we pray, and we really think about this because of the world we're living in, and the things we have going on. I know what we want, and I know what we wanna do, and I know what we need, but I just ask that you go home, pray about this, make sure this is really what you guys or we think we need to do. Everybody knows my position on it. I'm not gonna sit here and try to talk you out of it. I'm not gonna try to talk you into something. I just want you to make sure this is what we really need to do for our city.
And also, another thing to go off of is this increase affects you when you pay upwards of $10,000 in the local economy, you know, on a year-to-year basis, and it goes up. You know, there's been a lot of numbers, and it's rough math, guys, very rough. I'm not a finance person, but you're looking at a $300 to $500 increase in the average household expenses from, you know, your sales tax increase on a yearly basis, and that's if you spend over $10,000 in the local economy. But
I know a
that's
lot
all
of
I
the
have.
questions that I've got was, where is this increase going to? Like, where exactly are we dividing it out
Right.
to?
So
And
that-
that's been the main, you know, deciding factor for my constituents, is like, well, where all is this money gonna go?
Well, again, that is part of, we never presented a spreadsheet or had one that was, you know, we just tossed a lot of ideas in and looked at it, or at least I did. And, that would be the key thing, is this 4.1 million would be earmarked. Percentages would be divided up and going towards certain places every year into an account or whatnot for the expenditures. So you have a percentage going towards infrastructure like road paving and stuff, a percentage for miscellaneous, you have a percentage for first responders, you know, police and fire stuff, and you know, I don't know what we would call it, but like capital projects and stuff. But you know, your paving projects is a big thing, and we have the potential to pave the rest of the streets in town and still have a major surplus. I mean, I think it's, you know, it's a win-win for a low increase and a low effect on household income to get all these things that everybody wants and everybody talks about and thinks we're not doing our job because it's not there. And this is the avenue to do that with the most feasible way, most efficient way, and maximally effective for everybody in town. And again, it's not gonna be voted on tonight. We'll bring it back up next meeting. Okay. We have a request from SAFE to provide transportation for an event in May in Talladega. Margaret sent the information out. I don't have a problem with it, you know.
No, sir.
No?
I'm good.
So that's good. Do we have to act on that tonight? Just a verbal, okay?
Requirements within your area that you allow them to go, so
Okay,
I think she just wanted your blessing on it.
all right.
You got it.
Discussion for the proposal EF&S, the drainage improvements. Michael, will come up?
Good evening, everyone. So, the discussion on the bid that we received, that's on the agenda tonight, or is this for the North Broadway?
Well, you can, just let us know about the bid and then discuss on Broadway as well.
Okay, so we received 2 bids on the drainage improvement project at the 3 different locations that we had in the city. Most of you are aware, East Clay and Church was location 1. Location 2 was West Walnut and Norton. And then location 3 was at Calhoun and East First. So both the bids are very close. The lowest bidder was Central Alabama Asphalt and Construction Company, $594,000 even. Gillespie Construction was the second low bidder at $629,665. If you look at it in total, it's probably about $100,000 over the budget that I had given you guys. But wrapping your arms around construction prices right now are just a difficult thing. I wanted to be clear, I hate giving budgets that are unrealistic and when they come over, but I also don't bid on these projects either. So,
And Kim, this does come from that American Rescue Fund, that we have to spend.
yeah.
Is that the money to put that, or is that something else? That's money to do the stuff. American Rescue. Is it enough in it?
For this, yeah.
And our bid documents were structured in a way where they've got to meet the SAMS.gov requirements and the things that those ARPA funds require. Put those things in the contract, so, they are aware of that. So I'll entertain any questions that you guys have on that one.
Is that, the 596 is going, or is that going to take up all 3 locations?
Yes, all 3 locations. And the 4th location, the drainage channel, I worked with Reed and got with the city, and they got a proposal from G&H Ventures, who was doing the demolition on the old Avondale site.
That's that $8,500.
Yeah, so they're gonna clean that entire channel from the entrance into the Avondale side all the way down to the bridge. It's like 8,700, 8,500, 8,700.
Yeah.
So that should be done within the next 60 days also.
Is that currently will that take care of all the drainage issues that you know have been brought up so far?
Yeah, those were the kind of, when we first looked at this, almost a year ago, Reed and I had 4 locations, and those were the 4 locations that he wanted addressed, that he knew had issues.
And have we cambered anything else besides those locations? Have we ventured out to any other problem areas? I mean,
No, sir, we have not, and I got a proposal, Reed and I, after we opened the bids on that project, we walked from 1st, 2nd, 3rd, back from 3rd, all the way down, across the railroad tracks, basically where North Broadway disjoins. And, he kind of pointed out some areas on Calhoun that were having issues, and then we popped as many manholes as we could find, it's almost like it starts growing when you start looking at everything, so I went back to the camera folks and said, hey, it's gonna be more than just North Broadway from 1st to 3rd, we've gotta go all the way from 3rd to where it discharges out across the railroad tracks and then back up Calhoun some. So, there's a proposal in there from Video Industrial Systems. This is just a topic for discussion, but they had, I can't remember exactly how many hours they had set aside for cameraing and videoing. We have used Meets before, we've used this group, and the detail and the level of information you get is much better from Video Industrial Systems than other groups that do that work, or Video Industrial Services.
I like it. We don't need to, I guess, act on this right now. It's just for us to look over.
I got a question on this. So is this a situation to where we'll be back here next year, or is there something else that you think needs to be addressed along with these 4 cycles?
So have I comprehensively looked at all the drainage
Or is that?
in the city, or?
Yeah.
So I have basically worked with Reed, said, Reed, I know most of the complaints and flooding issues, that goes through his office. And these are the
Yeah, I think that's, we'll look at that in our capital meeting and see what we can find for your proposal, you know, and then go from there. But, all that sounds great to have those four, you know, year-long issues that we've been talking about, it's gonna help out, especially downtown and all that area.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping to one, especially I know there's been issues with trail areas at First and, Broadway. I'm hoping what we do at Calhoun and First will alleviate some of that issue down Broadway.
Absolutely. I think that's good. You got anything else, anybody?
I got a question.
Yep.
On the downtown drainage project, have you sent us a proposal for Cindy and I? Will y'all be doing that?
No, Reed said he was gonna handle that.
So Rick's.
And we structured the contract where it's not a unit price basis, so you don't have to go out there and track daily quantities and keep up with that information. Reed said he was gonna work through that with him or his staff.
Okay, thanks.
So that's.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Michael.
All right, we got one more item. I think we got plenty of time. We have the Alex and Mike's, positions, the ones they interviewed for, the civil service board, they are taking test. Now, the discussion that bring up is, do we want to interview them as well at a later date or continue since they're the only ones? And I know us three were at the civil service meeting and kind of, we were at an interview and heard what they had to say, so I guess since we've been at the interview through it already, what are your guys' opinions?
If I understand it correctly, Mr. President, we need your permission to allow the interim to continue signing checks and other paperwork until the, permanent city clerk takes office, what, the 25th? Okay?
Yeah, if we act on it, it'll be,
We're gonna have Mike going in on the 11th of these pay
right,
periods.
and that's if we act on it, that's what I'm asking, if we do that tonight, or if we want to interview them again.
I believe we need to interview as a group. Sets a bad precedent that we interview people for boards, authorities, and commissions, but not interview key department heads.
I disagree just because they was the ones that passed the test, so there's no need in us interviewing anybody. I disagree with that.
Right, and it'd be different too if there was multiples, you know, that
Right.
were in there, and of course we have to, but, you know, we need to decide that if we're gonna move forward, cause we can, bring Mike in at the 11th, and we could do Alex at the 25th, is that correct?
I think we still need to interview.
Right.
I mean, that's just me, I think we still need to interview.
Where do you stand, Ms. Hickey?
I mean,
What's the
we
point
were
of it?
in there for our
I
interview.
mean, we interview everybody, I mean, they need to be interviewed by the council, why not? Why do you think they shouldn't be interviewed?
I don't think they need to be, they're the only two people you have, and their scores are outstanding.
That doesn't mean they don't need to be interviewed.
It makes no sense to interview these people when they've already been interviewed, they've already passed the test. We're talking about one person for this job, one person for that job.
But they
And
weren't interviewed by the people
They have
that's
not
gonna
been
hire.
interviewed. They have
Civil
not
service-
he's going to make the
I know, but the
recommendation.
civil service board doesn't hire them,
They
so
have
they
not been
interview.
interviewed by the appointing authority.
Okay, well, they've appointed them to us. There's nothing if we don't like them, we still couldn't do anything about it because they passed the test. They are the ones that they was recommended.
Not if they don't pass the interview with us.
You wanna interview, yes or no?
I don't think we have to.
You wanna interview, yes or no?
I don't think we have to.
I don't think we need to, neither. There's 3-2, move on.
Alright,
Well, we're gonna do it like that, then shouldn't that be put to a vote like everybody else, so we can just have it on paper then?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's how we're doing it, let's get it added to the agenda.
And get the other drawed up.
Yeah, I have a question for Kelly, I know it's not on the agenda, but can you hear me? With everything that we have going on, I mean, even with the incident today, it doesn't seem like it's, with all the killings and the violence and the shooting, it doesn't seem like it's gonna get any better. And I don't know, I'm not a police officer, so I don't know as a police chief or as a police department, how you guys feel about everything that's going on. I know it's stressful, I mean, I know it's just a lot on everybody, but is there something else we need to do? I mean, do we need to be calling in some kind of assistance? Because to me, it just isn't, I don't know what we're doing. I just wanna know what we're doing, or what's in place, like, how are we gonna,
Combat the situation.
yeah, cause it's scary, and then it just seems like a lot of things keep happening in the same place, so what are we implementing to try to get a hold of this?
Combating a situation like we had today, there's no way that we can foretell what's gonna go on, where it's gonna go on. All we can do is react to it, okay, and our people are reacting. We've got every police officer that's available over there. We've got county units, we've got drug task force, we've got, right now, 3 shifts of our patrol units. And what it's gonna take is, it's gonna take the people that see the stuff happening, to tell us what they saw. There's no way that we can solve the cases if everybody says, we didn't see nothing. The last 2 homicides we had, there's been, porch loads of people, there's been carloads of people, and everybody says, we didn't see them. I was looking at my phone. Well, I understand people are scared. I very much understand that. But if they wanna get the killings to stop, we gotta know who it is that's doing it.
I know, and I understand that, and I'm not blaming y'all, I don't, I support you guys 100%, but what I'm saying is, I need to keep saying we have to be reactive. So what can we do to start being proactive? I mean, I know there's always a saying, the police, let's make the police get gonna be hot. I mean, can we just not be hot in Sylacauga? I mean, is that a thing? Is that something we can, I don't know, get some help? I don't know, maybe roadblocks everywhere, it's bad, like, it's sad. And
Well, what's going on right now is the officers that we have are doing roadblocks. The officers that we have are patrolling the areas, that they patrol. We have the city broke down in 3 sectors, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie. We're minimum staff, so that means we have 1 officer in each sector, and we have a supervisor, normally. We also have a lieutenant that patrols and goes and helps do when the officers are busy, doing their thing. It's gonna take, our officers are working overtime, all the overtime that they can, without being burned out. I don't know what the answer is to get it to stop, other than somebody's gotta get unscared and tell us what's going on.
I know, and I hear you, I understand, and we all know the officers are, they're overworked, and we're trying to implement some things to make it better for them. So, since they're overworked and we're so shorthanded, at what point can what's going on be bad enough to where we can get some assistance, or somebody else can come in and help to do something?
Somebody like who?
I don't know, if you wanna ask me, the military, which I know that's crazy, but I'm just saying, like.
Well, like I said, we've got the county, we've got the drug task force, we've got all the people that we know. We have state troopers out there.
Has there been any hits on,
It's just.
the job openings since?
We PT'd 3 today, 1 passed, the other 2 didn't. We'll go forward with the 1, we'll be PTing every 2 weeks. Anybody that wants to come and take the PT, they don't have to fill out an application. They come take the PT first, and then if they pass the PT, they feel like they wanna do it, fill out an application.
Y'all still have pretty easy access to get to the stadium? Is that still good?
Yeah, we've got access.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to who else we're gonna call. We've got state, local, and county officials there. It's just a matter of the people being tired of it happening in the communities, and the communities coming forward talking to us.
Well, I know, and maybe I'm just a little frustrated, and again, like I said, I know it's probably the hardest on you guys, cause y'all get blamed for everything, I know
You're no
it.
more frustrated than we are.
I know, so who do we need to call? There has to be somebody who can offer some kind of assistance. Maybe I watch too much TV. Does something need to be declared, or something needs to be said for something different to happen in Sylacauga? or how many murders have to take place for it to be considered maybe, an emergency, or maybe it to be declared something else? Cause there's been a few, there's been a
Well,
lot.
one murder's an emergency.
I know it.
But we don't have anybody else to call. I don't know who else we could call to come and help. We've got every law enforcement officer in the county that's on this end of the county anyway, that's out here. We've got Cooper County that's come out, sir.
Are drugs a common thread? Is there something common to all of this?
No, this is all this is retribution from other shootings. Our victims have been involved in other shootings, and the shooters it's just a back and forth thing is what it looks like. Friends going after the ones that they believe shot the one before, it's back and forth. And until somebody steps up, I mean, you know, our guys are gonna do everything that we can do. We're gonna turn over every stone, we're gonna find every piece of evidence that we can, we're gonna work as hard as we can.
Is there a reward fund, or should we be offering a reward to help close the loop on this?
Crime Stoppers is still out.
Crime Stoppers, we're members of Crime Stoppers, Central Alabama Crime Stoppers, North Alabama Crime Stoppers in general. They give rewards. The governor's office, if there's money available, the governor will put in rewards, but, you know, we start with Crime Stoppers. People can call in anonymously and still collect a reward.
Well, where are the Crime Stoppers? I mean, where are they? Where are they advocating and letting people know, hey, this is what's going on, call us, and is this amount of money for this reward? I mean,
Central Alabama Crime Stoppers is here in our community. The TV, and radio, you can help me with what I'm trying to say. The personality, are the different channels that are in our area
WRBC,
is who they go through. They give the information over to NBC 13, they give, Fox 6, they give it to 3340.
We've never heard from them, so they're not getting any local promotion. I've never heard a word from them.
And that's another thing, so what do we need to do to make sure this is being promoted more, to make sure people are seeing it? Because, I mean, if there is, a lot of times people will do things if there's some money involved, so what do you think we
Put
need?
up posters, put up signs.
Yeah, so what do you think we need to be doing to make sure that Crime Stoppers is being promoted, and people know that they are there, and they do want the help, and it's anonymous, and we'll pay you for your information? So,
Well, I mean, we get the information to them, and I didn't know that they weren't getting the stuff out to you.
Never
I
heard
saw it
from
on
them.
3340
I
this
see it,
morning.
yeah, I see it often.
But locally, that's not on local stuff, is what they're saying. Okay, well, I mean, you know, we know you're tapped out, we know you're doing
I mean,
everything.
whether we're tapped out or not.
We're just trying to figure out what else we can do to assist that.
Can we put up posters on poles in the areas where it's occurring with Crime Stoppers reward information to perhaps reach people who are at the scene in the neighborhood?
We may could do something with some, billboards or something.
I don't know, at this point, I think we're all desperate.
Yeah, man.
So, I mean, even to get some signs made, I mean, even if they're yard signs to put somewhere, we gotta do something to get this advertised, and I hate to say this, y'all know y'all will probably disagree, I don't even know how much money we're contributing to it, maybe there's some way we can add some more money to it, because we're invested, it is our city, and we want this stuff to stop just as much as everybody else, to the Crime Stoppers, you know.
But if, as you say, it's tit for tat revenge, there should be a way to wrap a noose around that and kill it.
But they still, at the end of the day, they still gotta call in, they still
We've
gotta
gotta have
report.
information, we've gotta have, our district attorney's office is not gonna allow us to prosecute on hearsay. You know, and that's kind of what we get when we get the word off, people will say, you know, the word on the street is. Well, you know, we look into that as far as we can and try to find that person that put it on the street, but when they won't talk to us, then it stops right there.
So should we be pressing the district attorney's office in, since it's so hard for them to prosecute?
No.
I mean,
On that, I mean, no case is gonna be solved with hearsay. We've gotta have testimony, we've gotta have witnesses, we gotta have people that care enough about the community come up to speak, and it's their kids that are the ones that are being killed. We need those people to talk to us.
If I could speak up for the chief, what he needs is a public appeal from everybody up there and from the mayor's office. It needs to be coming from you guys. If you go on local networks, go on the local radio station, and ask people to provide information and send them to Crime Stoppers wherever they are. There needs to be some kind of public campaign that's focused on this to support their efforts.
I agree, I'd be glad to.
Address the issue that's being concerned now.
Go ahead.
I'm Fred Crump, 912 Erickson Drive. I just had a meeting, interview with the council, Board of Education. And we talked about some ways to improve education. A lot of these issues can be addressed in one simple, it's not gonna be a total solution, but it will help the issue greatly. I speak to a lot of these kids out here, and they say one of the biggest things, Ms. Crumb, we don't have nothing to do. We don't have nothing to do, nowhere to go. There's a lack of, and the officer, you know, I know, Captain, we talk about these kids need something to do. No jobs. Cause the core of the problem is poverty. That's the core. We gotta provide some more jobs as well as activities for these kids.
Yeah, and stuff you're talking about, just not to interrupt, if you're talking about stuff to do, if you just here right now, we just approved the handover of the Burley Collins Center to be completely remodeled. And we're working on a master recreational plan and stuff like that. Whether it's new or reintroducing it, we're planning on doing that in the future. And, you know, we talked about up here, as Chief was talking about, adding funds to, you know, Crime Stoppers or something like that of our own, and promoting this out there in the public, like Brian said, so.
Question, Ashton, so, just like what you just said, we're talking about, can we say add $10,000 to the Crime Stoppers only for, things that happen in our city?
Information leading to
Yeah,
justice
so
for
he said, can we add to?
Hang on, we're not at the end of the work session yet. Everybody just hold on just a second, okay?
Is that's what I'm asking,
I think there should be a
because
way.
I mean, we could, we gotta have money, but we could. I got the money.
I think we need to consider that, I think we need to consider adding some money on top of whatever Crime Stoppers.
I think it's just 5,000, but they're all, I mean,
Would that help, Kelly?
Sir?
Would that help adding money to Crime Stoppers to get the, I guess it gets the reward up, maybe? Is that what-
Yeah, just for Sylacauga.
Would that help?
Yeah, it needs to.
We tried.
And it's only spent if it's successful.
it's a successful endeavor, so.
Yeah.
Maybe if somebody may speak up with information anonymously, give them some
Yeah.
material to work on for the.
Yeah, now they'd only get it if it led to an arrest in case it happened in Sylacauga. So, you know, that would be something we'd have to find the X amount of money for, but I mean, we can do it once we find the X amount of money, so, but we can look at that. Well, we got capital left to do, so.
Hang on a minute, Mr. Martin. We got you. Hang on a second.
Like Brett said, these kids need something to do.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank goodness we're gonna get Burley Collins back, that'll help a little bit.
Marco, go ahead.
Bear with me because what I have to say may not seem like it is relevant, but it is. In 1932, Sylacauga was devastated, almost destroyed by a tornado. The city in that crisis pulled together. And the words that were used in the Sylacauga News Advance was, this city came together and it was demonstrated as a city of brotherly love. I think that's the spirit of what we're trying to say is, as a community, we need to come together with that same attitude, that same motivation to address these crises. Because this is a crisis for our community. If we approach it from that, hey, we are brothers and sisters, we are neighbors, this is a common community problem, an issue. I think if we get together, we can find ways to address these on several levels. But it's the whole idea of, let's be a community. Let's come together under the umbrella of, I'm concerned for you and you're concerned for me, and let's work together to resolve these issues. I know we're pulled by so many different things. You folks got a heavy load for all the things you have to address. But this is outside of your scope if we don't have the cooperation as a community. And I believe that that kind of thing can be fostered, it can be encouraged, if we here will have that spirit of brotherly love. So, it's not a solution, immediate, it's part of the campaign that you incorporate in everything else that you're talking about. This is our community. We have responsibility for each other. So, that, my 2 cents, maybe 4, that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, please.
Reverend Patterson, you wanna say something?
The things that you're discussing, Crime Stoppers and all that, is a great way to help solve crimes, but it does not prevent crimes. If this community doesn't find some way to go into that neighborhood and address these young people with mentorship programs, after-school programs, or whatever the case might be, you're right, it's a poverty issue. And the point is that those young people over there, most of them don't have transportation to get to your schools and whatever for all these after-school programs to have something to do. Until we get organizations, VFW, churches involved, someone willing to set up these programs and go over there and address it to them, to bring someone in that has succeeded so that they can see that success can come in something other than through violence and selling drugs. That's how you solve crimes, not giving more money to Crime Stoppers for witnesses to come forward. That only encourages them to collect the money and report to help the police department solve the crime. Prevention is the key. I agree. Education is the key, but education is no good if I have a parent that barely finished high school that can't help me with new math. That does me no good. There has to be something or some help for these young people in order for them to stop doing what they do. They have to see something else other than what they're seeing every day in their lives. So if you want to do something, reach out to some organizations, reach out to some churches and see if you can get them involved to go over there and mentor some of these young people. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Gary, I agree.
Kelly, everything that's happened, how many people that's been, even the murders and everything that's happened, how many people actually live over there?
Are you talking about the victims?
Yeah, like, just all the stuff, that's going on, they're not even people that actually live in the area.
No, the people that live in Drew Court or on the east side of town are, for the most part, not the problem.
It's people coming in from the outside.
Some, yes. Now, some of the people, like, the last homicide that we had was a local guy. He'd been in and out of our custody and other custody for quite a while. That's the one I was telling you, there's a porch full of people that saw everything, and all they tell us is they were watching the phone. When bullets start flying, phones start dropping, and, they weren't just sitting there watching their phone, we know that. But we worked to the point to where we can get to and kind of, we pray that we get some information. And I can't say that we don't get information from people, but it's just very, very, very little. The victim today was a kid that, wasn't in our school system, but he was in the Coops County school system. So, where he lived, I have no clue. But he was a school kid that, out of the Coosa County school system, was over here for whatever reason, I don't know.
Thank you, Chief. I have one more thing, I know we're gonna put that on the agenda too, with Mike and Alex, but Jane, can you come up, I wanna ask about the positioning of the grade and step, you recommended 80212 step 3, is that not
I am.
where you do the educational / years of experience increases? Is that up to 2 or 3 steps? Because are we counting probation as a step or what?
No, that's the start. Probation was listed as the starting salary.
That's your entry starting salary,
Yeah,
correct?
I'm recommending a step 3, and I don't know if you have to go to 3
Okay.
if you'd like to.
Yes,
Please,
Who would you like to do first? Mike?
pick one.
Mike's fine.
Let's do Mike. All right.
Ms. Jane, can you speak up just a little bit, I'm sorry.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Mike has been with us, close to 11 years. He has been a utilities, basically Mike brings a lot of experience. He's been an interim for 5 years. That's one of the key elements in the recommendation. He's done this job for 5 years at the inspector's pay. He's, about half the time he's been the interim, he's been the utilities, inspector. He brings to the table, as many of you already know, a lot of construction, electrical business. He owned for 15 years with a scope of control, span of control of 35 employees. He has taken on the responsibility of the planning piece in addition, although that's not in his job description, and he has served the commission with some very valuable guidance, and he continues to do so. He will, once he's in permanent place, along with Alex, they will have some conversations about the maintenance piece, and I know that's been a topic back and forth, so we're
With him
looking-
in that position, will the others, how many positions will need to be backfilled? Because, I mean, what he was doing, in a sense, 2 jobs from the interim standpoint. So will we need a utilities inspector and somebody else?
I think that's a conversation that we need to continue to have, I believe, and I might ask Mike to mention what his thoughts are. I think Wayne, as you all know, has been retired and would like to be permanently retired and not work part-time anymore. And he's been assisting Mike because, as you know, for many years, they've been short-staffed.
I mean, we'll have to hire somebody.
Exactly,
correct?
so I know for sure he wants a full-time inspector right now.
That was the intention. Wayne said he would stay on for a little while longer, part-time, less and less hours. And the plan would be to backfill a building inspector and he can continue to handle the technical trades. And the city planner is something that you've got to decide on and talk back and forth over. It's actually been 6 years.
That's what I wanted to hit on now, is that, as is, the department head is also the planner right now, or is it now 2 separate positions?
It's 2 separate positions, but it was never combined.
Right.
So you could do it.
Yeah, and so now I'm saying, going forward, do we want to keep it 2 or combine it? We have 2 job descriptions, correct?
We do, but my understanding from your budget process, of which I did not sit in all those meetings, that was a conversation point that you had. Mike can do it if you decide that's what you want him to do, and it would also be a cost savings for you as far as the salary.
Fringe and all.
benefits and all that, health
Okay.
insurance, you know,
Okay.
whatever. Okay? I'm getting close to finishing him. He has also, over time, probably saved the city $500,000 plus in funds, just with his expertise in getting us on the right track with things. I expect that will continue in his performance, and,
But I guess
That's
I'm
about it.
getting on, Jamie, is like
the licenses that he possesses,
Mhm.
invaluable.
the certification and stuff, but I wanna make sure that the policy, you know, we have a set policy of due to experience, you can go up this much, due to education, you can go up this much, so I wanna make sure.
I can answer that.
Yeah, I'm talking in circles, but you kinda know
No,
what
you're
I'm
fine.
saying.
That is something that we had previously talked about with the court. We need to update the educational information. Associates 1, bachelor's 1.5, we don't have half steps. Now, Mike doesn't have a college degree, he doesn't need one for what he does and the experience that he brings, okay? I do wanna bring to your attention some previous situations that we've had that might help. And I'm gonna use some examples, and I hope, Kelly, I'm gonna use some examples from your department, I hope you don't mind. And one from the street department. I'm gonna use Kelly Johnson, for example. When he was promoted, he was brought up to a step 3, I looked it up today. He was promoted to a step 3. I'm not asking anything different from these folks. Buell Love had a Juris Doctorate, and he was hired as a police officer. And 7 months after he was hired, we got him up to step 3. Joshua Morris, a former police officer, came back after leaving us and realized the grass wasn't greener. And he was, after 6 months, put into a step 3, I'm sorry. Recently, in the street department, we had Kenneth Cromer, if you'll remember, where Reed did not, you know, that situation. After 7 months, he was brought to a step 3. Now, one other comment, I know these are 2 very key positions, as you know. They're not fire related, they're not police related, but these are the top jobs in the city. And we've got some wonderful people that are about to step into these jobs.
And I wanted clarification and, you know, just
Sure.
HR's words, not mine.
Did that help?
Yes.
Mike?
Yeah.
Should we go on to Ms.?
Yeah, I guess Alice is.
Lambert?
Well, and we all know Alice's qualifications and everything, just tell us the degrees and where she falls in line on the pay scale, where we need, what's recommended for her,
I've recommended her the same.
okay?
They're both AO12, I've recommended the step 3. Alex, has 12 years of postgraduate education, which is phenomenal. Alex, if I get it wrong, I believe it's 2 masters, a bachelor's, and 2 associates is what she has. She has 12 years of financial management, accounting, and audit experience with the Air Force. Retired 22 years. She's got the 12 years of supervisory experience. She has budgeting experience ranging from 14 million to 377 million. Her span of control has been up to 80 personnel. And she has, not to minimize this, but she has hands-on experience with the police department and the inner workings, and we just heard some of the problems and issues they deal with. That would be ideal for a new clerk to really understand that particular department. So those are my recommendations, that is my backup, and I hope that you will.
And going in, this is just city clerk, there'll still be a treasurer opening, or, they won't go together, is what I'm saying.
It's not, you will need to appoint a treasurer before, or at the time, March 25th. You don't have to do that tonight,
Yeah.
you can do it at the next meeting, we're better prepared,
Yeah,
okay?
thank you.
Shannon, I have one question. Everything that you're proposing for pay for Mike and Alex are in accordance with all the rules. I mean, I'm not an HR person, but I'm asking if we followed all the rules.
They are in accordance to precedents that have been set by other actions that we've taken. The rules need to be changed, and I indicated in an email that I was gonna try to get that done. We're gonna talk about it for the second time in our staff meeting on March 16th, and we're going to change that rule on education. So yes and no, okay?
So by the time time they are hired and paid, it will be according to not just precedent, but what the rules.
Well, if we need to bump it up to the 21st, yes, it would. But I think you've got to understand the element of experience. And we are in the 21st century, we're tons of inflation, we can't even staff our police department, we're having a hard time with our animal shelter. I could go on and on about reasons why this is a good recommendation. Thank you for your question.
Would it harm anything, you said the 21st? I mean,
That's the next meeting.
I'm looking at it from a viewpoint of past history precedent, like you're talking about, for people filing lawsuits against the city, and we all know that it's been done by employees that are gonna compare what happens to them to what happens with them. And I'm not making a judgment, 'cause I'm not HR, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know that if we get out of line or we miss our step, then somebody else is gonna come along later that's in a similar position or a lesser position or whatever, and they're gonna file a lawsuit against us. It's happening.
I'll have to respond just saying that is hypothetical, I hear where you're coming from, but I stand by my recommendation.
Well, why don't we can we not wait till the educational policy is implemented and do it next meeting?
We could.
And
You
put
wanna
it
do
in?
that?
But right now, the city clerk is the treasurer as well, right?
Correct.
Yes.
It is in the job description of the city clerk, it's not in the title, but it is in the job description.
So why would we need to appoint a treasurer if it's in the job?
That's what yeah.
I think that's a formality that the council does,
For that, they're separate.
yeah. It's an appointment, not a job description. It just happens to be in the job description.
All right, so let's do that and get the policy in place so we can say we're implementing in accordance to XYZ policy.
Absolutely. Thank
We'll
you.
do that, okay?
Thank you.
And I have one more question, I think, but the appointment of the treasurer is done in what way? I'm having trouble hearing, so.
Well, I'm not the expert. If Kim wants to jump in, you have to have a treasurer, because you gotta have somebody handling and, responsible for the money. It's just an action that needs to be taken before the person is in the position as of March 25th.
What qualifications do you not have a job description?
So why are we separating?
Two separate positions.
Well, let's don't
If
separate.
you'll remember, when Kim was made the interim, you guys had to appoint her as treasurer.
Right.
It's a common practice.
Cause I remember bringing that up when Mr. Perry was the president, everybody says, no, we don't wanna separate at that time.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why we
It's a common
separate it
practice
now.
because you're in a transition.
Would we have to fund it?
Okay, the common practice
You have to
is
pass the
transition.
baton to someone else. You see what I'm saying? I'm sorry. Can I talk to you later about it?
Yeah, because we're gonna push it, we're gonna do this next meeting, so let's go ahead and get that policy, educational policy and all that implemented, so we're voting on concrete.
Thank you so
policy.
much.
Yep. I've got two things and I'll shut up the rest of the
No, you
night.
won't. Go ahead.
All right, number one, my email that I sent about EDT, Mr. Mayor, I knew you was having Wynn contact them, but Wynn gotten with you or EDT about the issues we have?
I haven't heard back from them.
I will get a letter out.
So you ain't got a letter out yet?
No, but I will, this one.
Okay.
Mr. Michael, I'm gonna be meeting with you too before I do that.
That's a fact.
Okay?
I thought you were gonna get it last week, but
Yeah, well,
All right, here's another thing.
Exactly, yes.
As I'm sure you know, Reed said about Miss Connie, but I need to do some clarification. It has been brought up that Miss Connie's retiring and leaving, and that's all well and wonderful. Sylacauga Animal Shelter is not going to a 7-day kill shelter. I know you're hearing that, I know that's rumors, I know that's people talking that really don't understand what they're talking about. Now, I wanna go on public record, Miss Kim, as you're right. That is not happening in Sylacauga, Alabama. I have talked to Reed Calfee, Mr. Cromer can stand up if he needs to, if there's anybody in the room that's wondering. We're not going to a 7-day kill shelter. We've got some plans to find a manager for the animal shelter and everything to take care of itself. Now, we may have to turn people away because we can't store all the animals, If that happens, I'm sorry, but, you know, we only have a certain amount of space that we can deal with. But as far as the 7-day kill, I wanna squash that here tonight now.
It's the first I've heard of that.
Okay, anything else, guys? All right, we'll adjourn and jump right into the agenda, the council meeting. Let's stand up for the, pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, have a roll call, Lee Behrman.
Here.
Tiffany Nix.
I was trying to say.
You got an extra agenda over there, Kim? An extra agenda? Tiffany's here, Nate Brewer here, Laurie,
Here.
all present. Mr. Mayor, got a report for us?
Report tonight, Mr. President.
All right. Me to adopt the agenda, may I have a motion to do so?
I motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laurie Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas and approved. Need to approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting held on February 23rd. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laurie Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas and approved. Need to approve the minutes of the regular work session held February 23rd. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laurie Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas approved. No old business, new business. Action is necessary to declare property located at 614 Brentwood Street, Beverly Collins Community Center no longer needed for municipal purposes, and authorize conveyance of the property to Sylacauga Housing Authority. Action authorizes Mayor Heigl to sign necessary documents for proper transfer. If we already considered this meeting, we have ordinance 2255-23. Can I have introduction?
I use.
Ms. Morris, you need to add? All right, need to take action this meeting, we need to suspend the rules. May I have a motion to do so?
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laurie Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas approved. Now motion to approve.
Motion.
Laurie Heath, second.
Second.
Nate Brewer, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas approved. Looking forward to the housing authority.
Could I say one thing about
Sure.
that? Sam Royster is here, his attorney and the Sylacauga Housing Authority worked well together with me and the city to get this done, so I think we need a little recognition.
Yes. Thank you. Long overdue. I appreciate what y'all are trying to do over there with that property, and it's gonna look great. I know it, so.
Thanks, Sam.
We appreciate y'all working with us.
Number 10, action that is necessary to accept recommendation of Engineering Environmental and Forest Services Company to award bid received for Sylacauga Drainage Improvements Project to Central Alabama Asphalt and Construction Company LLC with a low bid of $594,000. Funding from the American Rescue Fund. This is COVID money that we have to spend. If to consider, we have a resolution 15-2023. May I have an introduction?
I use.
Nate Brewer, Ms. Morris, anything there? If to take action, we need to suspend the rules. May I have a motion to do so?
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laurie Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas approved. Now motion to approve.
Motion.
Laurie Heath, second.
Second.
Lee Fairman, all in favor? All yeas approved. Action is necessary to approve a request from Advanced Integrated Security DBA Wesson Companies to refund $50 for an overpayment of 2023 business license. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laurie Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas approved. Action is necessary to approve a request from Mayor James Heigl and HR Specialist Jane McGee to reimburse PD Officer Harry Brown for dental insurance premiums paid in the area amount of, what was that? $1,764, $1,764
2022 and 2023.
for 2022 through 2023.
No, that would have been from 2016.
2016 through 2023. In the amount of $1,764.
Yep.
May I have a motion?
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laurie Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All approved. Action is necessary to approve request from Safe Transportation to declare 2010 Ford Starcraft 15-passenger van with a serial number listed as surplus. Action authorizes action necessary to request disposal from East Alabama Regional Planning and Development Commission and OutDOT. I have a motion.
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laura Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas and approved. Action is necessary to approve travel and training request for firefighter Donnie Lester to attend Alabama Fire College Apparatus Operator Proper Course hosted by the Anderson Regional Training Center, April 3rd through the 7th, 2023. No registration fee, expenses per meal will occur. Lester will carpool with Autry and Carpenter. Training was approved on February 23rd, 2023. Total estimated expenses are $75. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laura Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas approved. Action is necessary to approve travel and training requests for firefighter Isaac Holmes of Clay Oak Church to attend Alabama Fire College Investigator 1 course hosted by Anderson Regional Training Center, May 1st and 5th, 2023. Registration fee of $330 each. Additional expenses for meals and use of a city provided vehicle. Employees will carpool. Estimated expenses for Holmes and Upchurch are $405 each. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laura Heath. Action is, all in favor?
Yes.
All yeas approved. Action is necessary to approve travel and training expenses for firefighter Logan Blake and AJ Tubbs, Lieutenant Josh Forbes, and Interim Fire Captain Scott Collins to attend the Alabama Fire College Rescue Technician Surface Water 1 and 2 courses in Prattville, July 10th to the 12th, 2023. Registration fee of $240 per, and additional expenses for meal and use of the city provided vehicle will be incurred. Employees will call. Total estimated expenses for Blake and Tubbs, Forbes and Collins are $285 each. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laura Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas approved. Action is necessary to approve travel and training for firefighters Logan Blake and AJ Tubbs, Lieutenant Josh Forbes, and Interim Fire Captain Scott Collins to attend Alabama Fire College Rescue Technician Swiftwater 1 and 2 courses in Prattville, July 13th to 14th, 2023. Registration of $180 per employee. Additional expenses for meal and use of a city provided vehicle. They will carpool. Total estimated expenses for each individual will be $210. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laura Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas approved. Action that is necessary to approve travel and training for Court Magistrate Samantha Armstrong and Jennifer Donahue to attend the 2023 AOC Regional Seminar for Municipal Court Officials, April 6th and 7th, 2023 in Birmingham. Registration fee of $210 each. Additional expenses for mileage and a meal will incur. Employees will carpool. Estimated expenses for Armstrong are $230 and Donahue are $325. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laura Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas approved. Action is necessary to approve accounts payable invoices received to date for February 23rd in the amount of $41,182.48. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Nate Brewer, second.
Second.
Laura Heath, all in favor?
Yay.
All yeas approved. Time for everyone to address the council, no action will be taken this meeting. I ask you to come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record prior to addressing the council. No one wants
Do you wanna say something?
Yes.
Come to the podium, please, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Hi, my name is Stephanie Varner Garings, and I moved away from here for a little while, and then I come back, and I moved in Autumn Trace Apartments. And I'm trying to figure out, can the city help, like, put sidewalks up and down that street, because we got 3 apartment complexes. So the people that's walking up there, even the older people on the bottom, and then, the little lady, they be walking, but you'd be so scared they're gonna get hit.
Right.
So is there any kind of way the city can put sidewalks up and down that road right there?
I don't really, that's my district, and I'm Nate Brewer, and I'm glad you come back to Sylacauga.
Thank you.
I really don't know that answer, but the assistant street superintendent's right there. He could probably help you and, maybe point you in the right direction. You know, that road is kind of narrow either way, going up a hill. So I don't know if we can put sidewalks in. I really don't know. I know we don't have the funding right now to do that, maybe some additional funding. I really don't know those, guidelines and those rules.
Okay.
If I may, I've already talked to, Michael concerning some grants that we found that may be possible for park safety and other issues throughout our city, provided by the state of Alabama. I think it's $5 million a year, for 5 years. And these looking into that, we don't know yet, but.
Awesome.
Well, can that location be added to the list of potential?
Well, we haven't got, well, we know, it could be that, because it's for sidewalks, which is safety, it could be for State Boulevard, it could be for restriping in and out of the city for turn lanes.
I know.
Like the yield sign on 511,
But
stuff
I'm
like
saying,
that.
but could it be added to the list, because even if we apply for the grant, we still have to have a plan, maybe it can be a potential part of that plan to be considered.
Yeah, it should be.
So we'll add that to the plan and, you know,
Okay.
hopefully that'll go in the right
Maybe
direction.
that'll help.
Okay.
And I still encourage you to talk to Mr. Cronin, maybe he can help you out a little more. Raise your hand, there he is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I got something to say.
All right, Mr. Brown.
Right, everybody knows who I am. All right, everybody knows I'm the only SRO in the school system. I cover 4 schools. To reemphasize on what the man right here is saying, we don't. I mean, I went to Elliott City, Pell City, all the neighboring cities. Talked to other SROs. I mean, Sylacauga is the only area that does not have anything in this city for these kids to do. Nothing. Now, I've had a young man that I met, and I worked at EBSCO years ago. And he came down, he looked at the old old Kmart building before they did anything with it. This man owned companies of making game rooms. He wanted to come down and open up a game room, and he's gonna take charge, he's gonna build everything with his money, and won't ask the city for anything. But they turned him down. We don't have, Elliott City has a bowling alley, a movie theater, and other recreational things for their kids to do. Now, it's true, we just had an incident happen over here in the project. You know, I do my best to talk to these kids every day, from grade school all the way up to high school. You know, I try to get them to talk to me if they know anything, where I can help our investigators out to solve some of these incidents that have happened through the city. Like Ms. Nix, I'm frustrated as well. I'm from the project. And it's a shame to see, it's like every other month, somebody's either being shot or shootings going on. Like, the chief said, we only have so many folks. I help out as much as I can, but the thing is, we need to get something going in this city for these kids to have something to do. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I deal with it in high school and the middle school more than anything about these kids talking about fantasizing shooting people. I had an incident where I got a picture from a parent of a student, a middle school student, holding a gun in the doorway of Dollar General, pointing at another subject. Now, I found out later on through investigation that it was a toy gun. And trust me, when I got through talking to her and her mother, that situation can be handled. But my thing is this, if they had somewhere to go and something to do, I promise you, they'll think twice before we're doing what they were doing. Again, we need something in this city for these kids to do. Now, when I was on the shift, I used to have to run them out of the parking lot. I mean, I tell them, I'm sorry, y'all ain't got nothing to do. I tell them to go home. Go sit in your yard, litter up your own yard. Hang around your house and do things. Instead of burning rubber, going out to the airport racing, possibly getting hurt, going somewhere drinking, getting alcohol poison. I mean, if you don't have nothing for these kids to do, what you think they're going to keep on doing? I mean, I can only talk so much to these kids. I'm asking the council to get something started in the city. The pool has been shut down for how long now? I mean, I know it's a summer thing, but still. I mean, you took, I ain't saying y'all been busy, but y'all have taken everything from the project. It used to be a pool over there, they shut it down. Used to be a wreck over there, they just shut it down. I know y'all getting ready to redo it, but still. But those little things right there mean a lot to them kids over there. I mean, just like I said, they don't have, some of them don't have transportation to get from one point to the other point. And then when they walk, that's when the trouble starts. And like the chief said, if we don't get the community to start talking, it's gonna continue. Y'all, you can bring every police officer down here and put them over there. That's not gonna stop it. What's gonna stop it is getting these folks to start talking. It is a shame you got a porch full of people when a young man get killed and you go to ask what happened, nobody sees anything. Like today, I was the first one on the scene on this one over here today. When I'm trying to get information, nobody wants to talk. I don't know. All of a sudden, then later on down the road, oh, it's this kind of car went this way. I needed that information then. So why you gonna go up the hill, talk to your friends, and then decide to come back down and say something? Now it's too late. You had people that was in the car who claimed they did not see anything. Now how can you not see anything and you in the car? One of them at the hospital when I came in because of, I guess, glass or something hit her leg or something, I don't know the whole detail. But still, 3 people in that car and nobody's saying nothing. You had people down the hill on the porch, didn't see anything. See, these things right here, we can't do it by ourselves, like the chief said. If we could, we'll solve everything. And the young men that was killed, I know 2 of them for a fact do not live in that area. I know that for a fact. One today was a student of mine years back until he moved out of the city. Unfortunately, you know, I did my best to talk to this young man over and over and over again through the middle school. I do my best every day to talk to these kids, to try to push them and point them in the right direction. But like I said, if we don't get nothing from the city to have something for these kids to do, I'm sorry to say, and I hate to say, but this is gonna continue way beyond my years here. I mean, it's a shame we have to do something.
Yes, sir, you're correct. Thank you.
Thanks, Officer Brown.
Anybody else? All right. Before we go, I wanted to did Nate, everything go good with Nate? Here? All right, just want to say congratulations to our fire chief, Nate Osgood, had his 7th kid today. So he's doing well, gonna be busy.
Income tax.
But without anything else, I need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion we adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Yay.
All yeas and approved, meeting adjourned at 6:23.